Hello, everybody. Let's get this all set up. Just realizing I don't have my Kindred glass mat. I'm gonna go grab that. And we are going to have a fantastic time together today. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Saturday. Had to think for a second about what day it is. I feel like I've been in like a time warp over here. And I am super excited to get into a little bit of villainous crafting with you all today. I think it's one of my favorite sort of themes to follow. I just gotta grab one more thing. And if you're stopping by, drop a quick comment just to say hello. See, I say one more thing and now I can't find, there we go. All right. If you are stopping by, drop a very quick comment. Just say hi, hello. If this is your first time here, let me know where you're tuning in from. And we're going to get into some really fun villainous crafting. So as you can see, I've already got ready to go the villain that I'm going to be using today. And of course, she's obsessed with dogs and obsessed with natural furs. I mean, of course, something that would make for a fantastic villain. And recently there's been some news that we will be able to visit a lair of sorts, a land of sorts where all these villains run amok. So I wanted to grab the villainous stamp set. Now, as a friendly reminder, you can find all of these images on their respective stamp sets, almost identically. And about same size or so. These might have been slightly resized so they all fit together. But you can find this villainous in the A Bit Spotted stamp set. Which I want to say is close to like 5 years old at this point, maybe a little more, which is crazy to me, but still super fun. She looks fantastic. She's one of my favorites too, Gwen. I also was thinking, I'm going to make my way and work my way through this whole stamp set. I was thinking about what stamp and what image I wanted to use, and I realized that most recently we did a card using these two images. I know that I've used this baddie before. I've used the sorceress before. Now we're going to be using the furry villain. I'm going to use them all at some point. It's going to be a goal. I don't know about the timeline for the goal, but let's say like this time next year, let's hope we've worked our way through them for Facebook Lives. I also had a really fun idea to use her with a die set that I personally have not used yet. And I think she's going to fit really well. We're going to get into that in a second. So let me check comments really quickly. We've got Leanne and Gwen and Audra. Hello, hello. We are in our villain era. I would love that. I also think if you have the friendship bracelet stamp set, the villain era, that would be like a really cute, like sort of way to do the beads on the friendship bracelet and like pop one of the villains on there. So the reason I already have her colored up, we're going to color her up again, but I wanted to let you know I'm not going to color up the whole image. We are only going to use about the upper part of her. So I'm not going to really focus too much about the bottom half, but I wanted to color her up in advance because I am going to post all of the markers that I use over on my blog for the full image in case you want to just have the reference for the colors later and not have it kicked off like halfway through. So what we're going to start by doing is give away the die set I'm going to be using with her, and that is the Memory Dex Drive-In set. And she's going to be popping out of this car just a little bit. We're going to make her look like she's driving. Of course, this car is like a little smaller than if it would fit like two people perfectly. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to kind of use this as a reference as to where I should be kind of worrying about coloring her up to. I'm thinking about this line right here. And that just basically means anything under here, not really going to worry too much about coloring, but the top, absolutely. So let's get into that. Oh, hello, Kristen. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. I still am forgetting what day of the week it is, but you know, that's okay. All right, let's just slightly adjust and get into it. So we're going to start with some Copic marker coloring. We're going to start like I normally do, and that is with her skin. And we're going to start with some E04. The E04, the easiest way is to look at a hairline, particularly hair that you know is going to overlap the face. Because if hair overlaps the face, it's going to make a little bit of a casted shadow underneath. So we're going to go in, we're going to color this up with some E04. Just like this. And now I am going to take this just very slightly down her face just to bring the shadow down, dropped a little bit. She has very prominent cheekbones, so we don't need to totally emphasize those anymore. So we're just going to do a little above her nose. We're going to do a little under her chin. She is the epitome of the word fabulous when it comes to a villain. I don't know if there's one that is as styled as good as her, but oh, I love her. She is fantastic. All right, next let's go in with some E11, which is Barley Beige. And we're just going to kind of use this as a way to extend all of that already laid down E04 out. So we're just going to color in. Of course, I'm going to be using the method of coloring twice for her. And if you guys, most of the people who stop by, I know I've seen you on at least a handful of my lives, so you already know what I'm talking about. But in the off chance that I miss someone who's tuned in, coloring twice is what I refer to as my process of coloring, which is coloring an image twice. So I lay down my base once, and then I go ahead and after everything is done with that, I color them up a second time. The reason that I go ahead and I do that, now do watch, I am shifting now over to E21 where it's going to bring up the color a little bit more. The reason that I color up my image twice is for two reasons. One is I believe it really helps me blend my Copic marker or alcohol inks together. The second reason is it really allows me to saturate the paper and get that deep colors that I want. And so everything is nice and dark, not dark, but deepened, saturated. Saturating means more of the present color visible. The opposite of saturated, I would say, would be like diluted, which means it's lighter because there's less of. Now you could look up in the dictionary and find that the opposite is not diluted, but I think it's pretty close. It gives you a similar idea, especially when we're talking about liquids onto a paper. We're going to move on to E00, which is Cotton Pearl. I do apologize. I use a lot of natural light in my craft studio when I do a Facebook Live, which is fine, and I love doing that. Sometimes I wish I didn't have to rely on it so much, but because I don't have overhead lighting in my den, which is where my studio is, because there's so much natural light, it does sometimes get affected if it's cloudy out, where right now I can literally, just by watching the change in lights, lighting outside, know that there are clouds covering the sun that are shifting. So I apologize for any of the shifting in light during my Facebook Live today. So let's go in with some E000. Yes, this is what I want. I was like, am I using the wrong one? No, we are good. So we're gonna go in. Now this is gonna be the final color for my first layer. Just kind of put all that in. Get good blends going. I'm also going to color those eyelids skin tone colored. You could make them different makeup, like different eyeshadows. That would work as well. We're definitely going to give her a little bit of makeup, but I'm going to do it under her brow as opposed to as like eyelid blending. So, all right, next we're going to just repeat these colors for the most part. So we're going to go back in with E04. Get down a little bit. How about after E04, I'm going to pop on, I'm going to check and see if I've missed any comments. I know there's a chance I haven't. If that's the case, that's cool. We'll just move on. I just always like to make sure to check in. All right, a little above the nose, under the chin, down the side of the dress. All right. I had another idea using another image from this villainous set that I was going to do today, and I'm definitely going to keep the idea in mind. I just felt badly because the way that I advertised this live yesterday, I realized I would have been using their original set more than the villainous set, even though that's where they exist. So I'm like, you know what, we're going to put a pin in that and keep it in mind for a future live. But I came up with a really fun idea for a pull tab card using them. So I'm excited because they are also one of my favorites. The truth is, most of these are, I would say, my favorites. I think they're all fantastic. I've also been saying we maybe need a part 2 of this coming out sometime soon. You never know. That's not a promise. That's literally me then telling Audra, I'm like, I'm like, we have had enough images that if we wanted to do another villainous set, it's not impossible. Who knows? Stay tuned. All right, going in with this E21 and above the nose. I also was thinking that in a future Facebook Live, I might be pulling in, I don't remember what the name of the set is, but you know how like the very, very OG princess style that Kindred did? Last year, I believe, it was when Audra had come out with putting them all on one stamp set. And I know there's at least one image on there. There actually might be more than one, but there's one in particular that I know was exclusive to that mega set. I wanted to use her on a card because I don't know if she's been featured yet. And I feel like we could use a little bit of that inspiration. So I was coming up with something. It is the mermaid princess, but in human form. I thought maybe we could color her up together and maybe put her on a beach card or use her with the seaside couple stamp set, maybe with the castle in the background. I don't know, something like that. We'll figure it out. Ideas. I come up with ideas. All right, we're going to go in. We're going to give her some makeup. So we're going to add a little bit of blush with some... Oh, I said I was going to check comments, and I never did. Wow. Good morning, Diana. And hello, Amy. Hope you're having a good day. All right, we're going to go with some R21. I usually, for my blush, go in with R22 to begin. But recently, I was coloring, and I saw pictures of my image after the fact. I thought it looked a little too stark, and I was like, you know what, maybe let's just tone it down a bit and see how we feel. So we're going to go with R21 and now R20, which is literally called blush, so we're using it for its namesake purpose. All right, now I'm going to do a little bit of eyeshadow. So I'm going to take some G02 and I'm going to very carefully trace her underbrow, just like this. All right, just like that. And then we're gonna go in with some G00, which is jade green, and we're going to bring it out a little bit. Trying to be very thin. I don't want her to have too much eyeshadow going on. We're gonna finish this with some G000, which is pale green. Ooh, that marker's a little juicy. That's okay. Well, we will be A-okay. All right. We're gonna come back to those in a minute, but I'm gonna grab my E000 and just blend this all up. Add one sort of final layer. Make sure everything is nice and blended. There we go. All right. She's good there. Down there. Perfect. Now, one thing I find that's really funny is I never like the way that like my image begins to look. It's always until all the elements come together and I'm like, okay, I'm on the right track. In my opinion, I think she looks like a total mess right now without all the other layers and elements going on. But I know that by the time we go into adding that all together, we will be good to go. So let's go in, let's work on her lips and her earrings, get those taken care of. And with her lips, she also is wearing fabulous red gloves that are going to match her lips. So we're going in with R29. Just like this. And that right there. And I think that's it. Now, if we were to continue coloring, that red is going to actually give a nice little trim to the bottom of her fur coat. And her shoes are also going to match as well. So that red pops in a couple places. But just because we're cutting part of her image off, we're not going to worry too much about that. All right, so we're going to go with R24. that. And then some R22 to give her lips that little bit of a pop or a little bit of a highlight. And we'll color these up a second time. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen the post. I'm imagining you have. But as a friendly reminder, we do have a brand new Kindred class kit that's coming out. It's available for pre-order right now. It's called the World Domination Kit. And what it is you're going to get a 4x6 stamp set along with 2 die sets. And I have a coloring tutorial provided for all 5 of the characters. And also, in addition to that, I do have 2 cards that we're going to be making, as opposed to some kits that we've done in the past that only have 1 card. I just felt, I was talking to Audra when we were getting everything finalized with the class, and I was like, you know what? I was like, do you want to just do 2 projects? Because I didn't really see a world where I was going to use the mice with the water tower with the other characters. So I'm like, let's just do 2. And Audra was like, you know what, that's great, let's do 2. And so we're doing a scene card with the water tower die, and that's gonna use the 3 animal siblings. And then there's a second card, which is a shape card, that features the 2 rodents, and I show you how to freehand draw a globe using a die cut and just kind of freehand shaping everything. Excuse me. Super fun, super easy. Both of the videos, I think every video is less than an hour. No, the coloring video is more than an hour, but both of the project videos are less than an hour, and I've got all the details laid out, so it's gonna be a great time. So, just see, nope, not missing any comments, that's cool. All right, let's go in with some G07. We're gonna work on her little jade earrings that she's got. So we're gonna go in just like this. And then that's G07. We're going to do G02 next. And I'm not going to color this up twice. It's too small. Just give her these 2 little baubles. Awesome. Let's do her teeth. We're going to do C4. Just to add a little bit of shadow. You wouldn't think about adding shadow to teeth, but it just gives that little extra pop. I am always a proponent of utilizing the white of the paper when you can, but I don't like leaving things just fully white unless they're like a really, really small spot. And this does not classify in small spot in my book. Small spot is when there's like individual teeth that are like shaped out and they're like maybe like a super, super small little teeth shape. Then I'm like, you know what? Use the white of the paper for it. That's totally fine. This, no. This I color in. All right, let's go in. Let's start with some of her hair because we've got her whole face situated. You can even see now that her lips are there, she is starting to look more put together. We're gonna go in, we're gonna do some T8 with her hair. Now remember with her hair, as you can see in my original image, her hair is black on one side, white on the other. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm using the same color family of the toner grays, but we're gonna make one side of her hair significantly darker. So we're gonna start with T8 on the left side. I'm just gonna kind of bring it up like that. Just like that. And then I'm gonna take it on the part of her hair. Just kind of try to point these in the direction of where these tufts of hair are going. So that's why you can kind of see towards the top, I begin to make them point upward. I just like them to be in that direction. So we're gonna do the bottom of the hair over here. And then we're gonna just like that. Okay, so we're good with that color right now. Next, we're gonna go in with some T6, and we're just gonna keep adding some strokes in. Just kind of layering them. Now, let's talk about how I color hair for a second, because I do hair differently when I color twice than I do non-hair areas. Now, when I color images twice, if I'm not talking about hair, I generally start from dark and move to light. because when you end with the light color, I feel like you get a good blend, like you're focusing more on blending that color out rather than keeping the boldness of that final color. So most of the times when I color, like I said, it's dark to light, and then once again, it's dark to light. Now when I color hair, on the other hand, it's a little different because I'm not just moving my marker and kind of putting down as much ink as possible. I'm trying very mindfully to add just some strands of hair. And I'll always start dark to light. But on my second go around when it comes to hair, I change it up and I go from light to dark. Now the reason that I do that is because, like I talked about, when you use the lighter colors, it sort of blends all of the Copic marker inks together to give you that nice blend. I don't want to blend with hair. I want each individual strand to look like a strand of hair, and I want that texture. So by me on the second round going from light to dark, that way I'm ending with the dark color and I'm keeping the texture and the darkness and the contrast that final color is going to give me because it's the darkest and it's not getting blended into anything. So it's just going to kind of sit on top. So we're going with that T4. I'm just going to kind of keep on adding it. And now this T4 is going to also be where we start on the white half of her hair. So also kind of go trace that a little bit. I hope that explanation helps with hair. I know it took me probably at least a year, if not longer, after I started like comfortably coloring with my Copic markers to feel comfortable to try and add hair textures. And once I did, and I gave myself a lot of practice, there was not a lot of looking back. Now I will say, find images, if you want to start to practice hair, find images in your stash that have very simple hair, not a lot of curls, not a lot of texture, just kind of maybe straight hair that you can just practice strokes. It helps so much. That's what I did. And even if it's not Kindred, I gotta think off the top of my head Kindred images that it would work really well with. But I'm trying to think of characters that don't have a lot of curl to them. But I'm sure if I thought about it a little harder, I could figure it out. But just look for simpler images without a bunch of hair detail necessary. All right, next we're gonna go into T2. This T2 is gonna be our final color for the side of her hair that's black. And this is just gonna kind of fill in all of that white. All right, and then I'm gonna go in and add this texture to the white portion of her hair. And we're gonna trace down the side. And if you have any questions regarding colors, let me know. Any of your Copic marker questions, I am your point of contact, your person to talk to. Now, why is my T0 missing? Here it is. There we go. We're panicked for a second. So I'm just gonna go in. Perfect. All right, we're getting there. Now we're gonna kick it into reverse. So we're gonna start with that T2, and I'm just gonna kind of add it in. Now for her on the white portion of her hair, I'm not adding a bunch of colors or a bunch of different markers because I don't want it to look muddled at all. And it's very easy when you're intending to color something that's white to make it look too gray. And I really want her hair to look white but still maintain that texture. So my I always say my rule of thumb when coloring something that your intended color is white or black is to approach it the opposite way that you normally would. Think about with whites that like make it a little darker than you would think. With your blacks, make them a little lighter than you would think, because that way you're allowing yourself with the whites to capture those shadows, or with your black tones to get the highlights in. If you go in and just want it to be black or just want it to be white, you're only going to get that one sort of shade with it. All right, so we're going with this T4. Trying to add that little bit of texture, and I might go with some T2 after, just to make sure that there aren't any like exposed areas. All right, now we gotta go on this side too. Keep going in with that T4. She is, I love her. I was planning for this live and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to watch this movie. I was also thinking about how many times this character has been done. Well, it's only been done live action in like 2 different ways, but the actresses who have portrayed her have been iconic. Just so, both of them just so fantastic in their own ways. All right, so this is that T6. Just like that, just adding in those textures. All right, and then we're gonna finish off with some T8. Let's see, any questions, comments? Oh, Christian, thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a wonderful time at your father-in-law's birthday. I know you'll catch the replay, and let me know if you have any questions. Going with this T8 now. It's gonna be our final hair color. Just kind of add that final bit of that hair texture. Just like that. Her hair looks fantastic. All right, so now, let's see. Let's work on coloring her dress and her coat because there's not too much left to color. Now remember, I'm not gonna go in and go super deep down her dress. We're just gonna kind of go a little past this line, do a little bit up there, and then, yep, all right. You know what, and then we're just gonna, for safe measure, I'll color her purse just in case any of it peeks out. All right, next we're gonna do some N5, some neutral gray 5, and down the side. All right, just like that. And then we're gonna do some N3, just like this. Awesome. Let's go back and repeat those colors. So we're gonna do N7, N5, and N3. I'm also going to, just for safeties, make that little metal bar on the top of her purse the same as the N3. So now let's go in with her fur coat. I am going to slightly change up the color palette I use. So we're going to start with some Y26. It's going to go in right here. Just goes up there a little bit. Go down. Do her arm. And her little fur purse. Just like that. Next, we're going to go in with some Y21. And then finish with some Y000. And I think this is gonna give me that light yellow fur color I'm going for. Yes, I do see that, okay. Because I thought that my initial one was a little on the darker side. So I just wanted something just a wee bit lighter. All right, so let's go ahead and let's repeat this. Is it raining again? I don't know, it's been raining all week here. We're gonna do this Y26. And then we're gonna do Y21. And Y000. Right. Okay, perfect. So now I'm gonna put my markers away. Like I said, I know that she's not fully colored. That's why I wanted to make sure to color her once already so you have that as a reference. But we're gonna just be using that portion. I didn't wanna color up parts of the image that weren't needed for the live. So, okay. So now what we're gonna go ahead and do is let's fussy cut her out. And I guess I'm just gonna kind of cut across like that. And then we're gonna cut her out the best that we can. Now, like I said, anything that was below that line, I did not put a lot of time and care into coloring because it's just most likely gonna get covered up or cut off anyways. It's just kind of cutting her out. Just like that. Oh, she's fantastic. Perfect. Let me just really quickly, I want to check something on my iPad. Just make sure that I'm not using something that is retired in a second. So let me double check. So I'm realizing I checked everything but this. And I think I might actually be catching a good thing because the paper that I was about to use is retired. So we're gonna use something else. Let's see. I'm not too worried about it. I think we're gonna pull out either Prep School or I'm Wishing and we will be fine. Ooh, or Rose Princess actually. Paper might be the way to go. Let's see, no, not that one. Sorry guys, I am trying to figure out, let's do the I'm Wishing paper pack. We're gonna use that. So hold on 1 second. I've just gotta grab my paper stash and grab new paper because on accident, the paper that I was about to grab, like I said, is retired. So I am just gonna go ahead and grab new paper. There's 2 prints I know that are currently available for me to use that are giving me a similar vibe. So my mistake on that. I'm usually pretty good on checking all of this in advance, but every once in a while something just kind of sneaks in on me. And this was definitely one of them. No, I don't want to use that one. So, all right, what else? Where are we going, Justin? Oh, Justin. All right, here we go. Yep. Well, it's got apples on it. Yeah, that's okay. All right, so honestly, I think the apples are gonna be subtle enough that we're not gonna be able to tell much. So I'm gonna go in with the I'm Wishing paper pack. Let's see, where's the pattern I want to use? Oh yeah. Oh, we'll be fine. Because yeah, I don't want to do a bunch of yellow, I don't think. I would rather focus on the red. So we're gonna go in, I'm gonna go ahead and die cut this. I do apologize. I know I wasn't planning on having a last minute change like that. So let's see. I'm gonna use my card basics. Like I said, I know that this image doesn't necessarily lend itself to the use of apples, but it'll be fine. Let's tack it down. Cement tape. Gotta shift that over just a little bit. Yeah, this will work great. Let me put my trash off to the side, grab my die cutting machine out. There we go. All right, I will use that instead. It's a little lighter, but that's okay. All right, so now I want our character to kind of sit inside of a car. And I wanted to make it look like she's driving. So I have the Drive-In Memory Decks die set. Let me grab it for you and show you. And I've gone ahead and die cut the car bits to make it look like we can use the front of the car. I'm also going to be using this sort of to map things out as well, because I was gonna try and put a little piece behind her. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. We'll see. But anyways, let's go ahead. We're gonna try anyways. I'm gonna grab some gray paper that I thought I had out. Yes, I did. And I just want to sort of trace this. Just like this. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to cut this out, but I want it to be smaller than what I've traced. So I'm gonna go in and cut. I need to do the windows. Just kind of my goal is that I should be able to sort of just put this behind my car. I'm almost there. I just gotta fix this side a little bit. Just like that. And this is gonna give me a little bit of a backing for my car, and we'll get to why I did this in a little bit. So let's go in and start working on our car. So I have a paper inking palette from Picket Fence Studios, and I want to use this for my ink blending. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. Now I've just realized recently, this is not as clean as it was when I first got it in terms of color. However, it still works like a charm. That's really the important part. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna grab the base of her car, which is going to be this sort of darker red color. And I'm gonna start coloring it in. And I'm gonna use Seedless Preserves, which is a deep, like purple, red violet of sorts. I was originally gonna do Lumberjack Plaid, but I think it would be too light. So I'm gonna go in with this Seedless Preserves, just like this. Just kind of coloring it. Just kind of shade it in a little bit. This might need to get a little washed soon, that's okay. Just wash it up with some Dawn soap. Just like that. So I'll put that off to the side. And then, let's see, let's do a little bit of quick cleaning. I did color on this with Copic markers, and it did end up unfortunately staining it, and that's okay, it happens. I actually did it during my World Domination class. All right, so just kind of let it dry. So let's see, what are we gonna do next? Let's do the items that are black. Oh, that's actually almost everything. So we're gonna do the grate, that backing piece, the wheel, and the 2 tires. Come on, let's go. There we go. All right, so we're gonna do this piece. Let's do the tires, all this dark gray that we're gonna use and color it up with some black soot. So we're gonna go in with the black soot. Add it in up here. And I'm using these sort of detail brushes because I'm working with smaller die cuts, and I think they work really nicely. Kind of like that. Let's see what else. Let's do. Both the tires. Do her steering wheel. Now remember, she is from Britain, so I'm gonna make sure she drives on the side of the car appropriate for Britain. So we could go in right here. All right. Now I wanted to do a little bit of ink blending her headlights. I think that'll maybe do it. Oh, I was gonna do her driver's plate, license plate. There you go. So we're gonna do, we've got her headlights, that. I don't know if we need to do the headlights in all honesty because they're kind of tiny, but I have this little license plate that I hand lettered. I thought we could just maybe very lightly distress it. So I'm gonna use some more shadow. Just add a little bit of shadow to it. Just like that. Okay. So now we can clean this up, put it away, and begin the process of car assembly. Oh, you know what? No, we have a background to blend up, and I wanted to use this for that too. So we're going to do that first. And if anyone has any questions, just let me know. So we're going to use the square that's from the Card Basics set. So we're going to put that down, and I'm going to take a long piece of paper to kind of mask off the bottom of the card. And I'm gonna blend up we'll do that first. We'll do the road first. This is Hickory Smoke. Just like that. And then we're gonna go in, and that's Hickory Smoke Distress Oxide. And then we're gonna go in with some Black Soot Distress Oxide for the bottom. And then I'm just gonna go in with that Hickory Smoke Blender and blend them into each other. Get a nice sort of road ombre going. Okay, perfect. And now I wanna take this tape and I wanna go ahead and sort of mask off the road portion. And then I wanna go ahead and blend up a sky. And I came up with this like yellow blue palette that I thought would look nice. So we're starting with some Scattered Straw. Why? I don't really know. I want to say it's like I was inspired by a scene from this movie where it's kind of like daybreak of sorts, like the time of day. And I wanted to kind of capture that without going into like bright sunrise sort of imagery. So we're gonna go in, I've got Scattered Straw, and now I've got Tumbled Glass. And then just kind of blend them into each other. So I'm gonna get a little bit of green in the middle because of the color wheel, which honestly, that's very pretty. And then I wanted to add just a little bit of grunge or a little darkness to it. So I thought I would add in just a wee bit of Stormy Sky to the top. I'm just gonna kind of add that right above the Tumbled Glass. Just like that. And then I'm gonna go in with the Tumbled Glass blending tool and just sort of blend it in. That way it's just gonna add like a nice dark color on top. Just like that. And I just wanna make sure it's gonna take up most of it, so I don't really wanna add too much more, but I do wanna do a little bit of splattering. Just like that. Put my blending tools back. All right, if anybody has any questions, let me know. I don't think I've missed anything. Let's double check. Nope, we're good. All right, let me go ahead and pick up this ink that I've splattered. Just like that. All right, and then clean that off. Let me kind of move that. I thought that I would do a little bit of paper splattering as well. So I've got some opaque white paper splatter by Picket Fence Studios. And I do want to splatter it, but I am gonna remove this panel from my paper inking palette just for the time being. I'll clean that in a little bit. And then let's just add a little bit of water and then splatter away. I thought we'd add just like a little bit of nice detail to this, but also I think it's kind of snowy during the scene that I'm going for. So there you have it. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up. Just like that. We're gonna set this panel off to the side so it can dry a little bit. And then let me just kind of clean this area up. And we can start some, you know what? We'll do our sentiment next. It'll be a good time to do that. So let me grab some paper for our sentiment. And where did it go? Yeah, we'll just use this. So for the sentiment, I'm actually going to pull in another stamp set. I'm going to use the Career Day stamp set of, what's it called? Ride or Die. And I am going to use the You Drive Me Crazy. And we're just going to do it on white paper and black ink. I'll, of course, emboss it so that it's nice and shiny. So we're going to go in, I just use a little bit of anti-static tool, and then I'm going to use some Nocturne ink. This is VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. I don't love how it's moving on this paper. Hold on, we're gonna do this on a different paper. Let's see. I'm gonna use this paper. Because I've used this paper before. All right, so let's go in one more time. So sorry about that. That's already better. And then let's go in with a piece of scrap paper with some some clear embossing powder. Set that off to the side for a second. We'll go ahead and heat emboss that real quickly. Just like this. So I've got my sentiment all taken care of. Let's do a little bit of cleanup right now, just while everything is sort of drying and setting. So we're gonna just clean up our sentiment from the Career Day Ride or Die stamp set. And there's my craft towel. Clean that off. Perfect. And then put that back. Right in there. Okay. And then let's go ahead and make sure that this is good, which it is. I'm going to grab a sentiment strip die cut from my stash, and we're just going to use that. So let's see. And then let's go ahead and die cut it. that right? Hold on, I'll make sure that I've got it positioned correctly. All right, there we go. Oh, and Jess is making a mess. What else is new? All right. It is not the best, but we are getting there. All right, let me put everything away. Perfect. Okay, so now we can get into some die construction and start to put everything together. So in Britain, they drive on the opposite side of the car than those of us in the US. So she's gonna kind of be over in this area. So let's go in. Let's add this in. Get it in like maybe right there. Okay. And then I want to put her into the car because I think that would be the next important sort of reference point to have. So I want to tuck her behind the wheel, but have her like popping out of the car like this. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So let's go ahead and we're gonna do a little bit of glue down there, but then also I wanna do a little bit of glue on the top just to kind of hold her into place. So I'm gonna go ahead, just kind of drop her in behind the steering wheel like this. All right, and kind of hold that into place. Then I can put my backing piece on. So my thought is we'll go ahead and do that. This. Now the reason I also wanted to do kind of a dark part, there's two reasons. One, she's kind of got a cab on the back of her car that I thought this would work appropriate with, but then I also was thinking I could maybe use a wobbler with her, and I don't know if I was gonna be able to do that without blocking that out. So that was my thought and intention. Let's see, Justin, what are you doing? She's good. She is good. All right, next let's do the grille of the car. Get that into place. Now I know that with this die set there are two different ways that you can use it. You can use it as the front of a car, or there's a way that you can use it as the back of the car. Or at least I'm intending on using it as the front of the car. All right, let's go in, Position her appropriately. Awesome. We're getting there. I'm going to go ahead and add in, I've got these little grates that I thought would look cool if they were metallic. Just little pops of silver. Push them into place a little bit. That's all you got to do. Just like that. And we can also drop her headlights in. This would also be a great opportunity for a light up card. In like that, and then I've also got her tires and her license plate, but her license plate is escaping me. It's okay. We'll figure it out. Since nope. Watching probably accidentally threw it out or something, knowing my luck. That's okay. All right, let's do the tires. Do a little bit of glue on top. Put it like this. And then let's go ahead. Just kind of line it up using my glass mat. Just like this. All right, and then before this is done, let me see if I can find where on earth her license plate went off to. I've got a license plate here that doesn't have anything written on it. Well, Justin, that's okay. That's why you die cut. Oh, no, wait, it's right here. It's right off camera. So we're going to use her license plate. We're going to put it right in the center, just like this. And then nudge it into place. See, centering is sometimes one of the hardest things during a Facebook Live. There was, okay, so Gwen, there was one in the tray, but I had hand wrote on one of them, so this one didn't have it. So this was like a backup, and I was hoping to use the one that I wrote on because I thought it just worked really nicely. But thank you for your help. I appreciate it. All right, so we've got her all situated on her car. And so let's just kind of map out what I want to do. So we've got our red paper. And I've got my little square background. I wanted to map this on silver paper just to give it a little bit of a pop. And I'm going to put her just kind of driving. And I wanted the sentiment, you drive me crazy. It's going to go right there. That's going to be perfect. And that's what it's going to be. But I think we're going to put her on a wobbler. I think that's just going to be perfect because she is a crazy driver. And I think we need it to make it look like she's driving all over the place. So let's go in. And push this down. Oh, phooey, I forgot that glitter paper is not the most forgiving. Might have to pull in something else. Where is, let's grab my big block right over here so I can hold this into place. We'll work on the rest of the card. I want to mat this onto some silver metallic paper, just like this. And this is cut so that it's just a little bit bigger. Use the advantage of having liquid adhesive to get this shifted into place. I might have to use a tape runner on this, that's okay. I can get some tape. All right, so I am gonna use some double-sided tape on the back because glitter paper can be a little tricky. So I've got some double-sided adhesive. I'm just gonna kind of add it. Sorry about the last minute change up. If you're not gonna mat with a glitter paper, you probably don't need to use double-sided tape. I really do prefer to use liquid adhesive whenever possible. Let's just add a piece right here, like that. Okay. And remove the backing. Make sure it falls nicely into place. And just kind of put it on the center over here. Now I can use liquid adhesive on the back because it's got a different sort of finish. So that's nice. Like I said, I like to use liquid adhesive whenever possible. All right, just kind of shift it around into place. All right, and then let's go in, see if my action wobbler will work nicely. I think it should. I need to find some smaller action wobblers because these are enormous. The nails are not allowing me to get this. There we go. I just want to kind of shuffle it around. Make sure that before I press it down, that I'm putting it pretty close to where I want it to be. Like that. Yep, crazy driver. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put the sentiment over here. Down there. What am I thinking? I think I like it up there. So let's go ahead, let's get her on a card base, and then we'll put the sentiment on after. All right. Just like this. Shuffle it down into place using that liquid adhesive I'm such a fan of. And then let's go in with some foam tape. And we're gonna use some strips. I've got some pre-cut foam tape strips from scrapbook.com that we're gonna pop on. Hello, Heather. Thanks for stopping by. And thanks, Diane. I'm just seeing your comment about my background looking good. All right. So let's go. We're gonna have to add some embellishments too, of course. I'm gonna kind of let this go off the card just a little bit. Like that. Oh, this is so cute. Okay, let's get a couple sequin embellishments of sorts. Let's see, what do I got nearby that I could throw on? The answer is nothing. No, I'm sure I have something that's hiding from me. Here, I think this is appropriate. I've got some black and white sequins. Almost like little puppies. So let's go in, we'll just add a couple. Just add bits of sequins. You know, we should be pretty close to done. All right, just kind of going in. Let's see what else we got. I just kind of like working in groups of 3 if possible. And there we have it. We like that. I think that's pretty cute. All right, y'all. So we are all done with today's card. Let's go over, while I put away these sequins that are going to now get everywhere, what we used to put this card together. So we did use the villainous stamp set, and we used this fur villain, the fur lady villain, and we also used a sentiment from the Career Day Ride or Die stamp set as well. We used the Drive-In Memory Decks die set to get our little car all situated. We put her on an action wobbler. I used some dies from the card basic set, and in addition to that, I also used paper from the I'm Wishing stamp set. So this turned out really cute. I love the wobble. I think it's super fun. I think it adds just a little bit of whimsy to the card and gives her just that extra oomph of character. So thank you all so much for stopping by, for creating with me today and doing a villainous sort of card. I would have a live scheduled for later in the month. I think it's a week from this upcoming Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll do one more Facebook Live for the month, and then I'll make sure to get this uploaded to my YouTube channel for a replay, a blog post with product links, and then if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you all so very much for stopping by. Thank you, Kristen and Gwen and Leanne and Aubrey. You guys are all so sweet. I appreciate all of the kind words. If you have any suggestions for what you want to see me create during my next live, always let me know. I always kind of like to operate based off of what I know that people want to see. But yeah, I'm glad that we were able to put another chunk out of the villainous stamp set. And who knows which villain's going to pop up next. You never know. But thank you all so very much for stopping by and spending part of your Saturday with me and with Kindred Stamps. I look forward to crafting with you again real soon. Thanks, you guys. Goodbye.